What's up, everyone? Do you guys want to know how to compress your tracks like a pro?
Do you guys even know how to use a compressor?
I don't.
I do.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I don't think you do. Stay tuned to this video. Let's see if we can figure it out.
P.S. We have a 20% off coupon going on right now. Ooh. It's almost Christmas, so go on our website, grab some packs, grab some sounds, and the happy holidays.
Ladies and gentlemen, repeat after me.
What's going on, everybody? My name's Danny Ferrari.
My name is Parker Immense.
I'm Jokr.
And we are here today with a very, very special video today, guys. Nobody knows how to use a compressor, basically.
You don't know how to use a compressor.
knows.
No, you don't know. I don't know. Do you know?
I don't know how to use a compressor.
Well, we're going to try to figure it out today. We got a special guest, Jokr, here today with his brand new remix of our track, Set Me Free with F-Word. This song is fucking sick. It's available for free on SoundCloud right now, so you guys can go ahead and grab it, okay? That's one. Two, we're going to be giving away the preset of this main sound that Jokr's going to be showing us how he used a compressor in our description down below. And three, okay, this is a big one, number three, okay, Jokr is kind enough to be able to give his entire project file to you guys, okay? All you got to do is just go to his Instagram, link will be in the description, give him a follow, send him a DM, say what's up. He's going to go ahead and send you the project file. You're going to be able to check out all this great shit.
That's a serious gift.
Yeah. Dude,
Serious gift.
this remix is fucking sick. I really, really liked what
Look
you
how
did.
many tracks there are in there.
There's like 70 tracks.
Yeah,
It's
we got a
insane.
lot in there for you guys, and everything will be organized. So all the racks, presets, samples, they'll just be ready to go for you guys. So
Nice.
yeah.
Danny, I know you're a project file whore.
Yes, I am.
Like you collect project files from everybody. Like it's so
really?
helpful to get people's project files and see how they work it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's huge.
And what's kind of cool too is like in this case with Jokr, Diego works with us and he's like a big member of the XLNT team. So you guys give him extra special love at this video, okay? He was able to take the pack and some of the stems from the song and be able to make his own remix. And good thing about the remakes is that you guys can do that with some of the project files and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's something that everybody sleeps on, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's like we remake all of these hit songs for you guys, and that's the perfect opportunity
Yeah.
for you guys to rip those stems, rip the project files,
Exactly.
and just do like a VIP or a remix.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Make sure you guys, if you can, like the video, subscribe, you know, go ahead and comment down something really special. And what should we give them away for maybe this video?
Maybe a pack of your choice.
Yeah, top comment
of
gets
your
a pack
choice
of your
for top.
choice. Cool. So yeah, without further ado, Diego, what's the compressor, dude? I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, let's get into some compression. So a wise, attractive man.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. This guy sounds really, really.
Yeah.
Did
really
he have
hot.
a beard?
He had a beard,
Okay.
headphones, blue beanie. I think a really good definition of compression is just volume automation over time. Put really simply, obviously compression goes like a lot deeper than that, and there's so many levels to that, and it does so many different things in your mix.
You like to use the glue. You use the fuck out of the glue more than anybody I know.
Yeah, I love the glue compressor for multiple reasons. One of the reasons why I love the glue compressor is it's just simple, it's straightforward, it's to the point, but it also sounds great. So it just has the key features here that are most important that you need to be dialing in. There's not too many, you know, random meters or whatnot. You know, it gets right down to what you need and helps you dial in and help your ears learn what compression is doing, which is part of what I want to share with you guys.
Yeah.
We're talking about volume. So we're talking about just this level right here, how much dB is going in. I think something that was confusing for me at first when I was trying to learn about compression is I thought that compression had to deal with like individual frequencies. But compression is actually about the volume of that signal, and that will in turn change the frequencies. And if you're doing multiband compression, that's then affecting more specific frequencies.
OTT, bro.
Hey,
OT tizzle.
True. So right now, if we just look at our snare here, our snare layer, right now we're getting almost no compression, just a tiny bit there. So if we pull back the threshold, now we're getting 4 dB into the compressor. we determine how much gain reduction we get by our ratio here. So if we have our ratio set to 2, if we have 4 coming in, that means we're actually taking away 2 dB of signal.
So you're saying that we're making it quieter by using the ratio knob,
Yes, exactly.
right? So that means the volume is being pushed down, whatever, 2 dB times whatever the ratio is.
Yep.
And then that volume is just getting turned down for that moment, right?
100%.
Okay.
And I think a great way to illustrate that is just to pull down the threshold all the way. Like, listen to how quiet,
quieter, yeah.
you know, the signal is. And I think a lot of people just assume with OTT and stuff that compression immediately makes things louder.
Right.
But with compression, you're able to get that signal tighter, get rid of all those peaks in the frequency, so that way you can then make the signal louder.
Right, you can change the dynamics of the actual sound itself. So if you actually were to look at the audio versus like a snare, if it's just sort of like this, you know, put
Yep.
one on screen, if you were to really compress it, you're gonna essentially get a sausage, right? And you know I love a sausage.
Oh, you love sausage over there, dude.
Sausage.
So let's look at some of the features here of the glue compressor. So we have our attack and our release, which again, most compressors are gonna have some form of this. If it's OTT, maybe it's time. So with the attack, if we pull down the attack, that means that as soon as our signal passes the threshold, it's turning on. And if we gave it a long attack, that means that as soon as the signal passes the threshold, it's gonna wait a little bit to turn on. We can kind of visualize this here. This would be our compression turning on with the attack, you know? And just like in Serum, in a VST, you know, the attack there, think of it like that. And of course, the same thing with the release. If we have a really short release, that means that as soon as the threshold comes back down to 0, it will turn off. If we have a longer attack, that means that compression is going to stay on a little bit longer. A good way to think about the difference between a short attack, short release versus long, the dynamics of that sound, right? So if we're doing a vocal, we're probably gonna want a more long attack, long release, because that's gonna be a more natural sound. If we're looking for a super compressed, super tight, we want a short attack, short release. That's why on OTT, often you're turning up that time knob all the way because you want that super compressed sound.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, I always think of like with vocals, I like to do longer attack and short release for like hip hop vocals, you know, because you're going really fast. There's a lot of syllables, there's a lot of stuff going on. So I like to do it like that. You see my settings right there for that the CL1B.
Yeah, no, that's your go-to.
That's the setting right there.
let's listen to this. Let's get some examples going here so we can kind of hear what we're talking about. So this is the glue compressor that I was actually using on this track, which if we see, I'm actually not using it as a compressor. I'm using it as a clipper. I'm actually just pushing it up. If we look here, I'm getting almost no compression. What I'm doing is really just distorting the hell out of the signal and just making it loud. And that's one of the things that I love about the glue compressor, you know, when it comes to a practical application, like using that clipping, which is different than a
sound,
saturator.
yeah.
You know what I mean? With the saturation, we're getting just a little bit more of an aggressive sound, which can be too harsh. This is just making it louder and just bringing out that nice punch, you know? And then I have the example here, the limiter instead. So what if instead we just limited the shit out of it? And if we do this, we can hear that that's really loud as well, which is interesting, but they're slightly different. It's a really small difference. So, you know, you might have to really listen hard here to see if you can hear the difference. But with the clipping, we're getting a little bit more of that transient. We're getting a little more of that initial punch. With the limiter, it's just that block signal. We're getting a lot more of that just like white noise. So try and listen to the difference here. That's one.
Yeah, the transient's
That's
gone.
2. Yeah. So, you know, this is a nice way where, again, this is maybe the over compressed, and you might be, you know, hey, I want to make my signal loud. And this is like, you know, what a lot of people do on their master. You know what I mean? Just fuck it, make it loud. Let's just push the limiter really hard. You know, with the clipping, it's just a slightly different form of limiting almost, because it's the same thing where we have a threshold, but instead of compressing it, we're just going to distort it. But with the soft clip, we're doing it in a cleaner way. So this works really well on those, like on your drums, I think, especially snares, perks on your kicks. You don't want to go as intense as you're going here, but just to add a little bit more knock. Using this clipping in the glue compressor is so useful. It's one of my biggest tips for sure.
Show them that sound that you're going to be giving away and how you use that glue compressor.
Yeah, totally. So this is a really awesome sound that I was really stoked on. I'll just like briefly show you guys. Pretty simple, just a little bit of like a nice little fast filter there. Just a nice patch there, just nice and aggressive, getting the sound. But yeah, I really like this one. Let's hear it in the context of the drop. Okay, sick.
Bro.
Hell yeah,
That's so
thanks.
sick.
Got just some redux, just briefly to show. That's what's giving a lot of the character of the sound here. I'll show here, I actually have an OTT and a glue compressor. So this is a good example of what we were talking about before, of the difference with these two. So for the OTT, it's just kind of really bringing that sound to life, bringing out that high end. And the glue compressor is actually more bringing up that low end. It's a little bit more subtle.
Yeah.
We're just bringing in like those mids and making it nice and present. Those highs as well. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's really kind of just giving it that extra 2%. And that's what a lot of this stuff here, it's just, you notice, it's just those small changes, but you know, they end up making a big deal in the long run. Yeah, so just kind of slowly shaping the sound. It's like a diamond, you know what I mean? It's like, we got to just take the time, just kind of polish it one step by one step till we get exactly where we want it to be. Yeah, and if you guys want to grab this sound, make sure to grab it. It's in the link down below. Absolutely free, preset rack. It's my own original sound, so it could be yours.
Yeah.
Grab it.
Get that Jokr sound, baby.
That was really dope, man. Thanks for showing us that.
Thanks for guys for having me too.
Absolutely.
Honestly, I'm
Yeah.
super stoked to be here.
We're gonna go ahead and show some examples. I'm gonna show some examples of how I use a compressor, and Parker's gonna show some examples on ways you can use it, right? Because it does so many things, that's why nobody knows what the fuck it does, okay? When I think of a compressor, I think of it essentially doing a couple different things. I think of it as adding sort of a groove to like a drum where you're actually playing with the attack and the release, where it can kind of add almost like a little bit of life, right? So there's that aspect of it. You can obviously use it for sidechain, and that's kind of the same sort of scenario as far as what I'm talking about. Similar to what you say is that you can take a sound and you can kind of really bring out its best characteristics, right? So if you have it on a snare, you can really bring out that transient so it cuts through the mix and the punch of it, right? And then a way that I like to use a compressor sometimes is using it on stuff like a sub. So you have a sub on this track that I can kind of fuck with. So whenever you're thinking about compressing, right, you have to think about mastering too. That's a big, big important thing, because people will over compress and then get into a master situation and then the entire sound is ruined, right? We had mentioned, and you had mentioned before, is it's really important to use your compressor subtly. A little bit of changes over time. It's really, really important to do that. So what's interesting about sub frequencies is it's kind of, I don't know what the fucking math is or whatever, but all I know is that G is the best sub note ever. Okay? If you hit a G at a low octave, right, it's gonna actually shake the walls. But if I move over to something like a C, it's not as present, it's not as loud. You can use a compressor to kind of bring those things to more of the same volume of dynamics, right? When you're hitting different notes in a melody, that G is gonna be the most prominent and you're gonna hear it. And sometimes that's not good if you have other notes in the melody. So for instance, you're not even hearing the sub until that one note, you know, actually hits. So there's my note, okay? And then if I go up to, like I said, down to a, or even up to a C, this upper octave might be louder than my G actually, because it's a higher octave. Yeah, you can kind of hear there's a little bit of difference in volume there. So one way to use a compressor to get these to sound a little bit more together, I like to take my attack and put it slow, and I like to put my release pretty slow. What I think about that is when you see the actual visualization of an actual sound itself, like a kick drum, you have the beginning transient, which is the first sound we hear, and then the low end comes in, right? If I want the low end to be more prominent, then I would have a slower release because I'm trying to compress this section over here. That's the way I like to think of it. Now, Diego, you had mentioned about bringing out the transient, and Parker. So doing a very fast attack and a very fast release will essentially be compressing this part of the sample, right? It depends on where it is over time, but that essentially will bring up the volume of it. So when I'm using a compressor for a sub, I want the low end, which the more presence of the sound is going to be later in the sound, right? So I'm going to go ahead and adjust my attack to happen later. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys just like something like this to try to get a similar volume. I won't compress it too much. Now they sound like the same volume, and you can adjust the makeup. Whenever you're using a compressor too, you want to go ahead and be A-Bing it and try to match the makeup to the original sound itself, unless you're using it to push like you had mentioned before, right? So whenever I'm using this compressor, I'm going to try to match the volume the best I can with my ears.
So you can also hear the release of the first note sliding kind of more into the second note.
And that actually kind of has to do with like a little bit of the groove. So definitely A being the makeup. I like to think of this as just kind of just nicely just packaging my sub before I get it to the limiter, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring it back up, right? If you do it too much, you're not going to have a very, very good sounding mix or master.
Sounds choked.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds choked or it'll look bricked. All right, let's just take this quickly, and I'm going to go ahead and resample this without the compressor. Okay, look, perfect example. No compression. You can actually see the loudness of the actual notes themselves. You can see that this C right here is quieter than this G, okay? I turn on the compressor, and I hope to God this works, otherwise I'm gonna look like a fucking idiot. They should be the same similar volume. There you go. That is compression, right? Okay?
Yep.
In its most purest, sort of simplest form. Now, if I overdo it, right, then I'm not gonna have a lot of headroom right here. This is like my headroom, right? Okay, if I overdo it and then I get it into the master here, it's gonna be crushed. So if you are doing a very heavy version of compression, you can also use this dry wet, which gets into parallel compression. And that's just a fancy word for dry wet, okay? In this case, I really, really like using it just subtly on my subs to kind of help the notes essentially sound a little bit more together because of the quietness issues when you're dealing with different octaves.
I love this video because I get to hear how you guys think about compression.
Dope, yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I think of it a little bit differently than you guys do.
Yeah.
But it's cool to hear you guys because that's how everybody thinks about compression.
That's why nobody knows what
Nobody
it does.
fucking knows what it does.
Why don't you actually show us how you like to
Here,
use a
pass it on
compressor?
over. So I think about compression in a very interesting way. I'm a very visual guy, but I think that my explanation is a little bit more simple to your guys's.
Are you saying you're smarter than us?
I'm not saying that.
55%
I'm not
smarter?
saying that. Maybe 55%. Yeah. I went to college for engineering, and they went so deep into decibels, percentages, ratios, thresholds, all of that shit. And I got to learn that very like elementary. So when I left, I had like this scientific way of thinking about compression. And when I do it now, I use my ears more, definitely.
yeah.
But in school, I was really dialing shit in by like numbers and stuff, and it was really weird. But now I have a very, very simple way of thinking about compression. And I'm just going to use the G compressor because that's the best way to show you guys. The first thing that I do is I set the threshold first. So I usually have an idea in mind on how much decibel reduction I want on it. So I usually go to 3s, 6s, and 9s. I do it in 3s because your perception of loudness goes by 6 decibels. So if you minus something by 6, it's twice as low.
We got a fucking
that was a
scientist
fat
over
nugget
here, dude.
knowledge.
It's a
right
fat
there.
nug. I'm hitting nugs
Whoa,
all
bro.
day. Think about that shit when I'm like dialing my threshold in. So if we're playing this, it's kind of the needle's jumping all around. So I'm just gonna bring this down first until it's like consistently hitting. So now we're at 10 right here. And it's funny because we're at 10, but we're also at like minus 11.7.
Yeah.
I'm listening as well as I go. So first, I dial the threshold in, and before I even do anything with the attack and the release and the ratio, I go to the makeup gain, and I do exactly what you were doing, Danny, is I match the reduction back up to where I was. So I'm hitting like 10, so I'm probably gonna go to around 10. Or 11, let's try 11. So here's without it.
Now you can hear what it's actually
It's
doing.
really
hear the
bringing up those
texture.
perks. Those
Exactly.
little perks.
You could hear the texture, and the perks is kind of dancing around. It's really nice, and you can hear compression really, really good in this example. So once I dial that in, then I go to the ratio. So if I'm vibing like a limiting kind of experience, just like a flat roof, I'll go to 10. I usually like to limit more than compress. So with 10 dB of ratio, 2. So 2 is light compression, 4 is in the middle, 10's all the way up. So once I dial that in, then I go into the attack and release. So this is where you really have to train your guys' ears. The way that I think about it is attack gives you more transients. Sustain gives you more body. And that's it. That's the most simple way to say it. And if you want more attack, you get a longer attack. If you want more body in the sound, you slow down the release. This is cool. The auto release on the compressor is really cool too. I do use that for more instruments, not really drums. I don't use drums on auto, but that's essentially how I hear it. So let's put the release back up to the middle and let's hear the long attack.
The volume of the kick is kind of being brought down.
Yeah. But all of the high transients are popping through a lot more. So I kind of like it. I kind of like it at 3. Let's play with the release. We'll start with a tight release and go all the way to auto. So we hear a pumping right now because the attack is longer, release is short.
That's the groove part of the compressor.
Yeah.
So this is the highest we can go. Now the snare is really doing this like crazy thing. And then here's auto.
sounds like it was at the same setting as it was before, so maybe that's where they would have put it.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. That's just kind of like my steps when using a compressor. And I very rarely use a compressor with low ratio.
Yeah.
I'm always, because I kind of know, I'm thinking about where I want to go, like on the group settings, like you were saying, Diego, or on the master, or pushing it into that. And I'm usually limiting all the fucking time.
Right.
I barely ever use compression as far as the lower ratios.
I think that, like, hopefully if, you know, you're looking for something to take away from this video, hopefully it's just go into your project, throw a glue compressor on your group, and just play around with the settings, just like Parker did right now. I think that was a great example of training your ears to compression. Go do that on every different one. Do it on your drums, your basses, your vocals, and just see how that affects it, and make sure to A/B it as well.
You know what else you should do is you should go to our website right now before time is up, because we got a 20% off coupon on all of Excellent Sound sample pack.
Hey.
On top of that, you also need to go onto Instagram and look up at Jokr. Is it at Jokr?
At Jokr.
Okay, at Jokr.
Yeah, at Jokr
DM.
Music.
At Jokr Music, sorry. Follow, okay? Get a little follow, little DM. Hey, Mr. Jokr, you're so nice and handsome. I would like your project file. Then you can really start playing around with the way how he uses compressions in there. And then, of course, go to our website and download all the sounds.
Don't forget, too, we're giving away that main sound as a preset, free 99.
Yep.
So go grab that as well.
And a free song. Well,
Yeah.
This is the most free video ever.
Everything's free.
It's free.
Free knowledge.
Set me free!
That's right.
Let's fucking go!
You're on fire today, bro.
I hope so.
I
hot.
think you smoked everybody with your
Really?
compressor.
My fucking,
your
I
shit was
smoked
really
you guys
good.
out
Really
hard.
attractive.
I'm high as fuck.
I'm just stoked on this video, especially with you, Diego. Like, this is such a cool, like, come-up story. You know
I
what
know,
I'm saying?
yeah.
Like,
I mean, it feels awesome to have made it from the couch to the desk.
yeah. You made it from the other room to the couch to the desk.
I mean, you know, when I was first here, I was cleaning the bathrooms.
Fuck yeah,
Yeah.
you worked your ass off, bro.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, Diego is one of the hardest working people that I know. He came up
Appreciate it.
from being an intern.
Yeah, well, he'd done a lesson with me too, so I knew him from that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's excellent sound. If you support us, then you support Jokr. He is part of the team. He is part of the family. You don't get to see a lot of what happens behind the scenes, but he's a huge part of Excellent Sound. And if you can, just like give him as much support and love, and also support and love each other and support us.
Appreciate
Because
it.
we love him.
Eiffel Tower. Double
Towers.
inside you. How did that feel?
That was nice.
Front
Nice.
and
That was-
back.
That was very nice.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Again, make sure you go check out the track, go
Yep.
get the project file, go get the preset, go get yourself some packs for 20% off.
Go play with some compression.
Go play
Merry
with the compressor.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Like the video, subscribe, comment down below for how you use Compressor. Top comment will get a pack of their choice. And I think that's pretty much it, right? Do you guys have anything else?
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you guys for watching. I'm super,
Thank you guys.
super stoked.
Merry Christmas.